Thanks for being here. Today, I'm going to show you some evidence that I don't think anyone is talking about, at least not widely. This is evidence I believe is concerning the Sabe people, the Sasquatch tribe, if you will. And the saying goes that, 2 is a coincidence, but 3 is a trend. On my place here, I found now 3 raccoon carcasses that we'll get to, with photos of them and a video of me handling the one I kept. The first 2 showed up in the summer of 2022. The third one showed up in July of 2023. And they've been discussed. If you dig into my channel, you can find them in earlier videos, but I thought I would do an episode just primarily on this particular evidence. And then in May of 2023, I'm going to read this. I had emailed this to Steve Isdall. Tuesday, May 16th, 2023, I came across a video of a deer carcass with the hide turned inside out after being pulled over the deer's head. And the person who found it guessed that the deer had button antlers all in one piece inside this hide. His photo is self-authenticating as far as the video where it can be found, and I'll give you that photo. I don't know this gentleman. I've emailed him and sent him my photos, but I haven't heard back from him. And this is this will be the deer carcass from the Vermilion River. And since I'm talking about it now, I will probably put that photo up next before we start. So let me describe the photo. There may not be any sound with it unless I can get it to go over this. The still photo is attached, is taken with my phone from his video on pause on my TV. And in that photo, you can see, if you blow it up a little bit, the name of his website. And so I've got you the date here. It's May 16th, 2023. The deer's head is at the bottom of the shot. It appears some predation may have occurred after the deer was killed, but the relevant part is the method of hide removal. And in his video, he says that it was posted about a year ago, which would also make it 2022. In any event, the deer image independently corroborates what I found on my farm. Thus, 3 examples from 2 different locations and different species of different size categories indicates to me that this is recurring behavior. Only a few animals in Illinois animals take down a deer, and none of the acknowledged animals of sufficient size have opposable thumbs. The deer photo removes human hoaxers as a feasible possibility. It confirms that something occasionally performs this means of meal preparation, and therefore human people should be on the lookout for it, just like tree structures, tree breaks, and prints, because it should recur. I sent that off to Steve Isdall in May of last year, and then listening later, sometime over the past few months, another gentleman, as I think I also mentioned while I'm walking about showing you the areas where this happened, from southwest Missouri, I believe, down the Ozarks area, emailed in that he had found a deer carcass like that, turned in with the hide turned inside out. So without further ado, I will begin to show you the photos pretty much in order. I think we'll start with this gentleman's deer photo, and then we'll go back to 2022 and what I found in order on my farm. And I think I also talk about finding some keys in there. I may go ahead and put them in because they're at the same location that I found these 2 raccoon carcasses. So that's one thing that I want you to take away from this, is there may be new evidence to look for, just to be aware of. Please share this as widely as you want to. I want the information to go out so that more people looking for these things, the better. Maybe we can find out more data will come out of it if more people are looking for it. And then the other takeaway from this whole thing that I find fascinating is the interaction with non-Homo sapien, intelligent, rational, reasoning in the abstract, non-human, intelligent beings that you don't have to suit up for NASA and fly to the moon or Mars or Alpha Centauri to be in contact with. If you don't find that fascinating, then you're probably on the wrong channel. But the people who are encountering this, I hope they find it fascinating rather than terrifying. I mean, it is a little scary, but the more you think about it, the less scary it gets. And that's why I include the Baha'i writings in all of this, is because for those who are frightened by this, because whatever path they may be on doesn't give you enough information, please don't be afraid to check out the writings, either in my videos or go to baha'i.org/library and just look around for yourself, because they have a lot to say that's very reassuring. And so that's it. If you're not fascinated by dealing with a non-human intelligence in the 21st century, well then, you're in the wrong place. If you're in the right place, stay tuned and I'll show you everything I got. Thanks so much, and we're going to continue on with a new clip. Okay, we are at the fire pit just west of the barn on my place. That's the 1871 hay barn. Over there is the nap squatch that you might have seen in some B-roll another day. And we've just taken a look. This is out of sequence with the filming, but with the episode, but I just did the little sequence on the third inside out raccoon hide. And so I'm just giving you the 360 here west of the barn, let you get your bearings as to where this is and basically how close it is to where I live, because that's where I live, right up there. The place we bought a year ago, it was my great-grandfather's place. I grew up there. I was a little kid in that house. So we're gonna go down the old farm lane, which is now covered in grass, but it was all gravel back in the day. We're gonna go down this way. I'm gonna count the steps and we'll tell you how many yards it is down here at this first location. Okay, we are 100 steps down the lane. And the ground that I'm looking over right here is where I found the first inside-out raccoon carcass. And it is just 100 yards west of my house. We're 100 yards west of the stone house, and the middle house is just a couple hundred feet south of the stone house, just down the lane. There's a couple of open front sheds down here where we store wood, 2x4s, 2x6s, anything that looks like we might be able to reuse, rehab, repurpose, anything like that we're salvaging. Literally, he who steals my shed steals trash, but it's all can be used for something. And you're looking at a hedge tree these old hedges are over 100 years old, and they're tipping over. And the understory is all covered with wild honeysuckle. The old delivery van there. And this is part of the path I mow down this way. And so right here is where I found that first hide turned inside out. I'll try to put the picture up with it. And we're going to walk on down here just a little bit more, and I'll show you something else. Another 20 yards, 25 yards. Okay, I've decided to give some commentary with the photos I'm going to put in. Hide number one, I found the morning after I had mowed the trail. And in that picture, you can see the little black knot of the intestines is above the carcass. And when I first saw it, it looks like a possum because of the color, but that's the color of the inside of the raccoon's skin. Just because of the way it's lying there, it looks like there's a head with an eye near the bottom of that carcass, but that's a bottle fly on the skin. The skull is actually at the top of that circle of carcass there, and you're looking down through the bottom of the jaw. And as you can see, the carcass is pretty much in one piece. This first one was still attached to the hide at the nose and the front paws. And everything had been eaten off of the skeleton, and there's no blood, there's no tearing of the carcass, there's no mess. And again, the intestines have all been removed and are there in one neat pile. And so that is what I found where I show you the video of where that first carcass was. Okay, I'm going to make a second cut for the next one. Okay, now we're out in front of that second shed where the keys are. And if you look up that way, that's where the first shed was, where I found the first carcass turned inside out. Got a bunch of saplings growing up in an old fence row here. My guard dog down the lane there. And looking down there towards the bottom of the hill where that next little copse of trees is on the right in this video, that's where we found the second inside out carcass, just, I don't know, 80 yards southwest of the first one on the trail. We'll go there next. Okay, now here we are at that little bunch of trees, and on the ground right in front of me at the edge of the mowed trail, 5 days after I found the first one, that's where I found the second carcass turned inside out. It was not quite as neat as the first one, but I'll try to get the photo on here too, and you'll see that it was also a very good job. No blood, all of that stuff. No blood, no cuts, no knife marks, no tooth marks, no claw marks. Just like the other one, and then the last one. And these were, the last one came several months later. I'll look those dates up and either put them in the notes or record a bit talking about the specific dates and stuff. So I'm basically walking down the lane and putting these locations in what I would otherwise do as B-roll, and I thought, well, I'll just record voice over as we do. So here we are down the lane. Now we're probably 150 yards west of the middle house. Up through the trees, you should be able to see the stone foundation of the 1871 barn. And it's just an old waterway down here, you know. Not going to look as directly into the sun. Bright sunny day. It's about maybe 6 o'clock, I would guess. Try not to go too fast. Panning around seems really slow when you're doing it and really fast when you're watching it. Okay, now this commentary is for the second carcass I found, which was 5 days later. 5 days after I found the first one, I had mowed again the night before. The next morning I went for a walk along the lane, same lane I'm taking you down on this video stroll. And in this second photo, you can see, again, the hide has been pulled off over the tail and is still attached at the hind paws. The skull of the raccoon was taken off and used as a tool to push the hide off, and it is attached. You can see it again at the top of the photo. Again, the guts are in one pile, and it looks like most of the ribs have been nipped off of this thing. You can see one of the front paws lying there next to it, and all of the edible meat is gone. And so that's the entire carcass, and that's what I found. Everything else was gone. Again, there's no mess, no cuts, no slice marks. It hasn't been cooked. I think the whole job was done right there where I found it. And again, there are a few bottle flies on the green bottle flies on the hide, but everything is sucked out of the skull as well. And I think, again, you're looking, the skull's upside down, you're looking at the bottom of the mouth still tucked in the hide there. So all the fur is on the inside of that raccoon hide, and that was the second one that I found.
You might be able to hear that. Where I'm standing now, there are 3 culverts that let the water from uphill go under this old farm lane and on down to Fall Creek and then to the Mississippi River. When we first moved back here 10 years ago, this is where I would smell a really bad dead animal type smell. And I always just presumed a raccoon or something had perished somewhere down here in this low part of the farm, maybe in one of the culverts. And that could be what it was. That could be all it was. Of course, it has never recurred. In walking this lane 300 times a year, every day since, nothing else has ever died if that's what it was. So there's that. So anyway, it was just a bad smell. We don't know what it was. I'll presume it was just a dead animal. And now, pardon the bounciness, but I don't know. The screen goes dark on this GoPro, so I can't really see what the sun is doing to it. But I'm showing you a tree break here. This has been pushed back into the tree to clear the lane. And that tree break right there, that happened not too long ago. Well, a couple months ago, during the winter, I guess. I've got the date written down. And so one top was broken towards the camera and came all the way out here in the lane, and the other part of the top was broken due east in line with the fence row and the lane. Maybe the wind did it. Would have taken a pretty good, northeast wind to do that, and when it broke there were no leaves on the tree. And so the interesting part about this little spot here is, notice the bad smell down there, tree break here, double tree break. And then up that way, where we're going towards the top of the hill, I found the turtle shell in the leg, right in the lane, right up there about where the dog is, right in the middle of the lane. And then on up at the top of the hill, that's where that third inside out raccoon carcass was left. we'll go up there next. And I'm not going to walk us up there with the camera on because I've tried that and it's just too bouncy. So we'll turn it off. Here comes my Sasquatch guard dog. And we'll turn it off and reconvene up there. Okay, now we're up at the top of the hill. There's this little broken limb here. With this little break and the one down at the bottom, I don't know. I'm not saying a Sasquatch did that. I'm just saying that it was unusual to have a tree break in two different directions. But could have been lightning, who knows. But since I found that empty box turtle shell on this hillside, and then right where I'm casting the shadow here, that's within 20 feet of where I found the third raccoon carcass. I've got photos of it and I'll try to put them in the video. And then another interesting part of this is out here in this, what is now a picked cornfield. It was standing corn last year, of course, before it was picked. And right here in this corner, it's hard to see now, but a whole bunch of corn in about a 15 by 15 foot area was all broken over in about 3 or 4 rows. There was a big square area where all the corn had been knocked down. And from right up here on top of the hill, I don't know if you can see that green roof in the distance, but that's where I sit and stargaze at night. And this is sure a good spot to watch whoever's sitting out there on that deck, which is always me. Now, I'll probably talk over this some other way at some point, maybe. But I did want to mention that 2 deer carcasses have been found turned inside out by people that I don't know and have never met. And one of them was up on the Vermilion River, somewhere near Peoria, Illinois, I believe. And another one was down in the Ozarks somewhere. And I will try to put the still and the link to this other gentleman's YouTube channel. He didn't think that it was, he didn't know what it was. They just said unusual carcass found. And the same way, I think, with the guy in Missouri, down in the Ozarks, he had emailed into the Facts by How to Hunt. And I can't remember whether he thought it was Sasquatch related, Sabe related, or not. But all I can say is that the only thing that could do what has been done to these raccoon carcasses is either a human, and they would have to plan it out really well, and then no one may even notice because it's yucky. And plus they would have to poach the raccoon out of season. They can't use the hide, and somehow they got all the meat and organs off of the body of the raccoon without slicing it up. And that just seems like an awful lot of work. Plus they would have to trespass onto my place multiple times to get that done. And to what, what's the benefit of that? And it's now been more than a year or so ago, and no one has claimed responsibility. I'm sure after I put this on, somebody will, but too late. I won't believe anybody who claims responsibility after this video goes up. So I'm pretty sure that there's something out here doing it, and I'm pretty sure that it's the Sabe people. And so I'm putting this all on here for the wonderful people who are following this channel, so that if if you come across anything or know anyone who comes across this same sort of phenomena, just be on the lookout for it. I've told all this to Steve, but like I say in the book, I don't know if he ever even opened those emails. I'm going to send him a copy of the book when I get it written. I mean, when I get it published in whatever form, whether I do it or some other publishing company does it. I just want him to have the information too, so that he can compare it with whatever people may send in to him. So it's like the 2nd of May. I guess tomorrow's maybe the 3rd. This is a Friday, so whatever day that makes it. May 2nd, I guess. And this is where I found the 3rd of 3 raccoon carcasses turned inside out. No blood, no cut marks, no bite marks, no sign of physical attack, no mess, no fur, no sign of a predator. Very neat, very clean, as you can see from the. Okay, what we're looking at is the raccoon carcass that was given to me, left on the trail. And all it is the skull, which is pointing to the left. You can see the teeth and the jaw, and about 3 vertebrae. And it's been frozen. I keep it frozen. And the rest of it is the raccoon carcass that is turned inside out. It's still attached at the nose. There's a picture of this too that I'll show you, the still. And as you can see, the carcass is kind of wrapped around the skull. That's from being in the freezer. And so all of the hide and all of the meat is gone from the skull. You can see frost on there in the sunlight. And the feet and everything are gone. This is the tip of the tail. Here's the tip of the tail. The whole thing's turned inside out. Pulled off the skeleton and still attached at the nose, which is still in there. Now, the time that this was presented, raccoons are not in season. The hides are green. That means that they can't be tanned. And so this is basically as far as me having this, I found a dead raccoon and froze it. Not even the whole thing. This is what I found. If somebody wants to argue with me, they can explain it first. See, we're looking up the spinal column. It's gone. And so we had this raccoon carcass attached to the nose, 3 or 4 vertebrae left, and that's all. Even the tail's turned inside out. Feet are gone. All the other bones are gone. Just gone. And I'll show you on the trail where I found this. And the thing about it is I had said, I've been seeing a lot of stuff happening here. I told the wood line. And I just need to know if it's you guys. If it's you guys, leave me a sign so that I know it's you. And that was like on a Monday or Tuesday. I mowed the next day. And then on the trail, near the top of the hill, as I will show you, this was lying in the trail the day after I mowed, just like the first 2. So there you go.
Okay, this bit of commentary will be for the keys. Since the shed was right down there in the same area where the keys came from, same location as the carcasses, here's a handful of the keys that I found up at the house around my truck and around this wagon there. It's been moved slightly since this photo was taken. These have, some of them have paper tags on them. They all came out of that red Folgers can down in the shed. There's one that shows the location vis-a-vis this one photo here shows the lodge where I make these videos in the background, and these keys were found right there where I'm holding them. And then there's another one, another photo of the keys on the ground. And so the keys had been dumped out of the Folgers can after it had been gotten out of the tub. And then the Folgers can was set upright. This is the way I found this stuff when I decided to go look for the keys in the shed. And I videoed this location, and you can see that they were dumped out, and then a bunch of them were picked out and carried up to the house. Okay, just gonna show you how I found this box turtle shell in the lane, where I talk about it as we're there where I found the third carcass. And there are some photos. I think I'll just keep talking and talk about these as I see them. There's one photo with my shadow, and you can see the way the carcass was laid out when I found it. The one with just the last one, found in July of 2023. Where it is, my shadow is pointing right at that tree with the little limb break in it. And just to my left is the area where inside the cornfield, 3 or 4 rows, a whole bunch of corn had been knocked down. I come around to the other side and shoot down the lane towards the bench, and you can see the carcass laid out there straight, and it is right, this is right where I found it, and it is right in the middle of the path. You couldn't miss it. And then there's a close-up of it so that you can see how it was laid out on the ground. And draw your own conclusions. There you go.